So, Justin, our digital architect, once again, most people say that, especially when they look back at their day and they realize they spent 3 hours scrolling, and it just leaves them drained and tired. And then you read articles about the last thing you should do before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning is check your phone. And yet 99% of us, that's the first and last thing we do is check our feeds, check our phone, check email, all of that. And no wonder we feel drained. In your experience as a digital architect, especially, so you know what they're trying to do to get my attention, how do you combat that so that you can, in the morning, feel refreshed and kind of go out your day, throughout your day, without being manipulated by the machine?
I turn my phone off at night. So we talked a little bit
Yeah.
in one of the previous episodes about turning the phone off. I turn my phone off at about 10 o'clock at night. A lot of people may not want to do that. There's ways to put it on silent. You wouldn't get a hold of me if there was an emergency at night. And that is something that I think about. But knowing that the phone is off, the benefit for me is that when I get in bed, that's a time for me to read. That's a time for me to pray. That's my own time. And I don't want any ideas that the phone might have something going on. When it's off, those ideas vanish. In the morning, I sort of have this little exercise routine that I go through. The idea that I have to go turn my phone on helps to keep me from checking it super quickly. I think there's probably other ways to overcome the distraction of the phone, but for me, that was just too difficult. So I had to take the drastic step of turning it off.
One thing that's dawned on me in all of this discussion is, right or wrong, your area of expertise, you guys, you digital architects, you have made a machine that basically studies all my moves. And so in some regards, you've made everything all about me. That may be another reason why it's so addicting, is it's feeding stuff that even if it's bad for me, it's the machine thinks I need to see it, and everything becomes all about me, what I want, what I'm thinking about. Even for shopping, you look at something once and you get 20 different examples of it in your feed. One thing that's been suggested is to become more social. And what do you think of that? Do you think that helps?
I definitely think that helps. From personal experience, another time that you're away from a phone is if you're with other people and engaging them. It's pretty easy to go to a social event and get back into your phone, but it's also pretty easy to engage others in a conversation. Maybe there's a dinner party. I think my daughter, who's 21 now, she's gotten better at this because she knows if she's at dinner with us and she pulls her phone out, we'll ask her to put it away. And she'd prefer not to be asked to do that, I suppose. So she's gotten a lot better at not pulling her phone out. I think, though, when she's with her friends, they have their phones up and down the whole time, and they're showing them pictures, and anything that they want to show them is going to probably be off the phone. But yeah, I think a social event gives you a much easier path to getting away from your phone.
Would a strategy be to outsmart you guys, digital architects and all of that? What if you decided that you were going to take an hour a day and focus on someone else other than yourself? What would that, could a algorithm even comprehend that kind of a strategy?
Well, definitely it could comprehend that. I use AI extensively to help with the work that I do. I know I'm running a kind of a hot-rodded version of AI. And I know that I could sit down with the AI that I run and find a variety of solutions. There's some irony for you. But I think if you wanted to focus on someone for an hour a day, you'd probably have to try and take it in bite-sized pieces and kind of set a plan. It feels a little bit broad at that level. But if you set a plan and said, okay, well, today maybe this isn't the plan, but maybe here's an idea of how you could approach it. Hey, today, let me make a list of the people that I would want to focus on. If I've still got energy, maybe I'll do my tomorrow part of this today, but I can also then tomorrow narrow down the list. And then once the list is narrowed down, maybe you can put in some items that how would I focus? What about that person do I want to focus on? And sort of build your way to it. And the reason I say that, and I don't mean this with disrespect, I would have a hard time with this as well, but I think we're so out of practice of doing things like that we'd have to set up tactics and steps and really build up those muscles again. People that used to write letters to each other, or go back to even probably letter writing was prolific even up into the 70s and maybe even the 80s to a degree. Maybe you start by writing that person a letter with your hand and a pencil. Again, these aren't the ideas, but some way I could imagine getting to it, because I think we are, most of us, so far away from focusing on others in that way.
Yeah, and then helping someone besides yourself is not so easy for a lot of us. And yet on the same token, research has shown that we're some of the loneliest people on the planet.
That research couldn't possibly be more confirmed.
Yeah, but then what do you expect? If you're being led daily by a machine that has no feelings and it's all focused on you, it's kind of, you get what you put your time into, isn't it?
You generally are going to hit the target you're aimed at. The trick is, what target are you aimed at? And if you hit something, then you can almost always say, well, that's where I was aimed. And if I didn't know it, I better recalibrate. But, like thinking about writing a physical letter, right after I said that and I said, okay, and, get that kind of muscle back, I thought, boy, I wonder if my hand could manage its way through a physical letter. Probably something I should actually give a try. But yeah, focusing for an hour on anything, let alone another person, I just bet most of us are out of practice. It's probably a super worthy thing to try, and then give yourself a break. You might not be as good at it as you wish you were.
That's a great suggestion. What we've talked about are the 4 key areas to stop from running on empty. First, start with God's presence. Just like Justin said, in the morning, fill yourself with God's word, prayer, take away time from your social media, shut the phone off. Excellent suggestions. Start thinking about and developing a plan to serve someone daily, whether it's you write them a letter by hand. A lot of us are so into our own devices that we need to take steps to reach out to someone else. So one step at a time is excellent advice. Third, I don't know if you got it or not, but one of the most helpful things that Justin said is really the easiest is turn off your device. Save some time in your day, each and every day, so that you can hear God's voice and stay focused and being steadfast in your faith. I mean, that is awesome. And then the fourth thing is start looking at others in a different way that can change things just step by step in relationship. And for those of you who aren't used to being very social, start with a letter and then just make a plan so that you can have impact on someone else's life. So when you live out these 4 keys, you just don't survive the day. You thrive in it. That's what Paul means when he says, always abounding in the work of the Lord. So our soul pump assignment for today is think of a talent, resource, or opportunity God gave you and help someone else with it. And start small. Maybe it's a letter, just something that you're good at. Share that with someone else. And then thank God for that gift that he gave you. And you can't believe how gratitude will turn what you do into something that's very energy enhancing. Second, social connection. Reveal what God has for you today by showing some small act of courtesy or service to someone else who least expected it. And you'll be very surprised at the results. And it'll actually brighten up your day. And then third, pray for that someone that you helped today, that God will change them and energize you as well. Thank you for joining us. You'll be amazed at what God could do in your life. Before you rush back into your day, pause for a moment. You just finished a spiritual rep, and it really mattered. Whether you prayed, encouraged a friend, or spread God's word, that small act is sharing your soul for eternity. Remember, spiritual fitness isn't about perfection. It's about showing up daily. So celebrate the step you took today. And if this podcast helped you, be sure to share it with a friend. We'll see you tomorrow, and thank you for joining us.